Well, good afternoon. I want to thank you for being here. A couple days ago, I did a presentation that was showing that because it appears our human political members of the United States, they don't really or know how to handle a lot of the political problems that are going on in the world. So my team approached me and said, look, we want to take this over. So what I showed you a couple days ago was my team that are going to logically follow the news of the day, as often, probably at least every other day, of going into a problem that we're having and how my animal team will basically take care of it. So what you see here in front of you, there's a link up above to my video 2 days ago that introduced you to the team. The president, the Congress, president's advisor, you name it. Well, the recognition, of course, the two team members that we had to add today, and you can see them on the screen there, is the Defense Secretary on the left and his or her, because, again, we can have either one, his or her assistant is right next to them, or him, or her. Now, what we're going to talk about, and this is from BB&C, it's in essence saying the Iran super leader warns Trump of irreparable harm if U.S. joins the Israeli strikes. And as you know, and I'm just the kind of intermediary here with the animals as to putting forth their opinions. They're not necessarily my opinions. And they're going to outline for you how they would handle this. Because what we're seeing, of course, is in the United States, we don't know whether we're going to use our big bunker buster on and involved with Iran or not. Now, the nice thing about the animals, they're wise, and they don't kind of put out carrots and say, well, I'm either going to do A or maybe I'm going to do B. No, the good news is they are very definitive. They know the best way for everybody to handle this. By the way, I probably mentioned it. This is from BB&C, so the source is BB&C on that question. So what we're going to see now is, okay, again, just to emphasize, those are the two defense secretaries, mainly the top. Wolf is the defense secretary, but he or she has, as you can see in the second picture down, that is his assistant secretary. This is such an important job. But anyway, what they're feeling is the immediate priorities on this whole issue of making the decision. First one is de-escalation and damage control. As I said, you are seeing the two members of the animal cabinet, and, they're pretty darn smart. Now, what they're recognizing is there should be a ceasefire and humanitarian aid. Now, if we get involved and we use that big bunker buster, is that going to solve the problem? Is that going to make it go away? No, because warring parties will do what they need to do to stay ahead. So, we might think, oh, yeah, but we're the United States is whatever. You don't have to worry. We're going to take care of everything. Well, not really. So the absolute first step is to secure an immediate, comprehensive ceasefire. Now, I'm certainly emphasizing if we don't do a ceasefire, obviously there could be where we're looking at a big bomb on Iran. So the ceasefire would require intense diplomatic pressure from all major international actors simultaneously. Humanitarian corridors we would set up where we, depending on whether it's in Israel or Iran, that we are able to take care of the people. So the animals are saying, no, we're not going to drop a bomb. We're going to do a ceasefire committed to both parties. And because right now there's quite a lot of damage in Iran. In essence, it appeared that some folks, left Tehran. Others said they can't. So we would have to and would have it where we set up areas so that we can take care of all the food, lodging, sleeping for those that are, unfortunately, their homes could have been damaged or destroyed, et cetera, et cetera. So, again, humanitarian corridors must be established. Now, it would be all protected to allow for the delivery of urgent aid to affected civilians. Now, thank goodness the animals finally got involved and said, we're gonna handle this now, because it's everything in the world is out of control. But when Gaza was, and we can get into the whole politics, but I'm just saying in general, when Gaza was and still is being hit, aid trucks can't get in. I mean, I can go on and on and on, and that's just not acceptable. Most people that get it are in the middle of any of these things going on. It's not their fault. They didn't create it, but they're in the middle of it. So, we as the animals feel we're going to do the right thing. So, we're going to stop what's happening. We're going to set up areas for giving out food and blankets and anything that the citizens that have been affected will have an option. Now, the next thing we need to do is, in reference to nuclear facilities, because as you know, this is what the Israelis have said. Well, we think Iran is close or was close of creating a bomb, and the bomb would be dropped on Iran. Well, we get that, we understand, but the animals are taking over, and they're going to make sure this doesn't happen. So what they would be doing is they're going to be protecting the nuclear facilities. The targeting of nuclear facilities, as reported, is extremely dangerous and carries the risk of a catastrophic escalation. The Atomic International Energy, as you can see, the IAEA, must be granted full access to all nuclear sites in Iran to assess damage and ensure no further threats. And international safeguards must be reinforced. Now, the next thing that the animals are going to do, excuse me, I'm sorry. I guess it feels like I'm going to tell a lie when your nose gets weird. Anyway, it's live, and sometimes life gets in the way. Now, what is also a big concern, and what needs to be done, and will be done by the animals, is containing any of the proxies. Now, as you know, Israel doesn't have a lot of friends in the Middle East except the United States. But, with Iran, there are quite a few other countries that could get involved in this. That's why when you say, well, yeah, if we drop the bunker buster, that will end everything and everybody will go back and go home. Well, that isn't how the Middle East works. And if you go through history, you'll see that isn't how it works. It just keeps going and going, and whoever keeps going keeps going. So we would have to contain the proxies to keep them out of them getting involved. Because again, that throws off any balance or any feeling that this can be nipped in the bud, as we would say. So efforts must be doubled to prevent proxy groups from further escalating this conflict. This involves working with regional states to limit the flow of weapons and funding to these groups and to impress upon them severe consequences of further involvement. Now, the next thing is open communication channels. And I know it's everybody, as we were kids, you'd say, no, I'm not talking to him or her. Well, does that make sense? No, it doesn't. So let's open up all the channels. Egypt has been involved in the sense of working on trying to stop things from happening. And there's other countries in that area that at least realize that no one's going to win with this. And of course, these folks now know that the animals have taken over. So they're going to work with the animals to do everything that we, have open communication. Despite the animosity, direct or indirect communication channels between Israel and Iran, as well as with their respective allies, are crucial to prevent a miscalculation and misunderstanding. Third-party mediators, such as the UN or neutral states, could play a vital role here. And, I just mentioned some of those that like to basically help out here. Now, what we're showing here is really the only real solution to this is, and I know the animals don't think this is a big deal or hard because they're used to working with it and realizing that no one wins if somebody loses. But we have to and have it where these, the Middle Eastern countries at least talk to each other. I just have to, the animals said, we're taking over because we know darn well that people in the Middle East especially would rather shoot rockets off than actually talk to kind of calm things down a little bit. I mean, yeah, I'm 75 years old, and, I hate to say, the Middle East has had problems for a very, very long time. And, you know, there's really no logic to Arabs against the Israelis. It just doesn't make any sense. It never gets solved. And some of the ideas that came out a while back where, well, let's, talking about Gaza for a minute, let's move all the people somewhere else. No, I don't think that's going to work. So the animals, again, have a very clear understanding of the logical way to do things. So, as I said, what's going to happen is every couple days, they're going to be personifying something that's happened in the news. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the Middle East, but unfortunately, that's probably where you would find it might be happening. And they're just saying, we've got it, and we're going to take care of it, and we're going to have, I don't want to say a happy ending, but there's going to be where one would say, if you read a book that's from this time or 5 years from now, finally the Middle East, because of the animals taking over, have realized it's better for everybody to get along and not shoot rockets at each other, which doesn't ever solve anything except kill people and destroy property. And it's not acceptable. So again, I appreciate the animals for coming on with me, allowing me to be their spokesperson, and have it where they will, again, give you information with these different items of what should be done versus anything that their human counterparts decide to do. Anyway, look for this. This is going to be a regular every couple days. And because I have to pay the animals and, you know, so on and so forth. So, and yeah, they don't get money, but they get a lot of food. So I have to really be careful. But bottom line, I hope you enjoy this, and I hope we learn something together and we help save our wonderful world. Thank you very much for your attention and efforts on this big thing going on. Thank you.